When XiaoYan was taken to the Taishu Gulong clan by He Qing, he couldn't help being taken aback that he stared at Xian, who was sealed by the dragon phoenix crystal layer, and his state of mind gradually calmed down. As his sleeve robe waved, a wisp of purple-brown mixed with forest-white pillars of fire turned into monstrous flames, and within a few breaths, a huge fire dragon was formed. As soon as the fire dragon took shape, it raised its head to the sky and let out a roar, a thunderous dragon chant, shaking the dragon phoenix crystal layer non-stop trembling. XiaoYan's handprint quietly changed, and a soft drink came from his mouth. The soft cry fell, and the huge fire dragon suddenly flew out, and then in the midst of many nervous gazes, it rushed towards Xian, who was asleep with her eyes closed, but just as it was about to hit the latter's body, the huge body twisted quickly, winding and entrenched to wrap Xian all over. At the same time, the temperature of the Longwang crystal layer suddenly rose to a terrible point. When the temperature here rose, streamers of light also flew from all parts of Dragon Island, and then stopped solemnly in the sky around the mountain peak, awesomely a member of the Taishu ancient dragon clan. XiaoYan didn't have time to pay attention to the onlookers in the surrounding world. At this moment, he has gathered all his thoughts in the dragon phoenix crystal layer, and the soul power at the center of his eyebrows has surged out like a tide, firmly controlling the temperature of the flame. Although the blazing flames blocked the line of sight, the powerful such as elder candlelight still included the scene of the crystal layer in their minds. That I saw the blazing pillars of fire, constantly spewed out by the winding and entrenched fire dragons, entangled in Xian's body. Under such a terrifying temperature erosion, the dragon and phoenix crystal layer covered by Xian's body also began to emit a faint strange light, which flowed like a liquid, diffusing a terrifying energy. However, even so, the dragon and phoenix crystal layer still showed no signs of melting. XiaoYan didn't panic at all. After all, if the dragon phoenix crystal layer could be refined so easily, Elder Candleglass would not invite him. At this moment, an old voice slowly sounded, "Candleglass, do you really think he can refine the dragon and phoenix crystal layer?" Candeli heard the sound, turned her head slightly, and saw an old man with black and white hair standing in the air. Zhangli turned her gaze to XiaoYan in front of the giant tripod, and said slowly, "He can become the champion of the Danhui. Naturally he is extraordinary, although he is young. The contact between the past 2 days has made me see that this son has old experience and a resolute personality, which is extraordinary." Hearing this, the black and white-haired old man whispered, "Xian is the only person of the Taishu Gulong clan who has a complete royal bloodline. If he makes a mistake, the road to the unification of our clan may be impossible. Elder Chio doesn't have to worry too much." Although XiaoYan is not the only one on the mainland who has the top 10 alien fires, our current situation is not suitable for turning to others for help. Zhili shook her head and said softly, "Xian specifically mentioned asking XiaoYan to take action before she was unconscious. Although she was young, she would not joke about her life. Since he said so, he must have great confidence in XiaoYan." Qi Jing nodded silently, glanced at XiaoYan deeply, then moved his figure and slowly disappeared. At the giant pinnacle of the crater, XiaoYan seemed to hear the dialogue between candlelight and glass. His eyes shook, and a scorching breath spurted out along the fire. However, as the soft syllables came out, the fire dragon in the giant tripod seemed to be summoned, and his body trembled violently. Everyone was surprised to find that the original purple-brown color of the fire dragon with forest white was gradually changing to a strange dark purple. After a while, the fire dragon's body shrank significantly, but the temperature in his body suddenly skyrocketed. The terrible high temperature caused the faces of some people of the Taishu ancient dragon clan to change color slightly. The dark purple flame spurted continuously from the giant mouth of the fire dragon, sticking fiercely to the dragon and phoenix crystal layer on Xian's body. The moment the two came into contact, bursts of scoffing suddenly broke out. Under this fierce confrontation, the extremely strong energy crystal layer finally quietly appeared under the gaze of countless surprises, a drop of purple gold liquid. The fusion crystal layer is melting. Although the liquid is extremely small, it has never escaped the eyes of many powerful people. At the moment, the sound of surprises sounded suppressed. Candeli also breathed a sigh of relief quietly at this moment, and the clenched fists in her hands slowly relaxed. Although this is only the first step, it has at least been shown that XiaoYan's strange fire can indeed melt the Dragon Phoenix crystal layer. Next, just stick to it, and sooner or later the Dragon Phoenix crystal layer will completely melt. With the continuous refining and chemical progress, a month's time disappeared quickly like quicksand at the fingertips. During this period, all the people of the Taishu ancient dragon clan could clearly see that the dragon and phoenix crystal layer on Xian's body was getting thinner and thinner, until it finally completely dissipated. The emergence of this change also filled Gulong Island with an atmosphere of joy. At this rate, I am afraid that it will not be long before the dragon and phoenix crystal layer in Xian's body will be completely refined, and by then, the world of Warcraft will once again give birth to an existence with true royal blood. In front of the giant tripod, a disheveled figure sat cross-legged, his bloodshot eyes filled with exhaustion and a palpitating toughness. Around the mountain peak, beams of respectful gaze were projected on the thin figure. For a full month, XiaoYan conquered these naturally proud Taishu Gulong people with shocking persistence. Candlely looked at the figure who hadn't slept for a month, and sighed softly. This son will have great achievements in the future, and it is not impossible for the Xiao clan to return to glory. XiaoYan, blessed is your Xiao family. However, as soon as his voice fell, a thunderous roar suddenly sounded in the void space. Xiao, you are so courageous, how dare you trespass on my Donglong Island? Candle Li's face changed instantly, and she slowly looked up at the void space outside. Are you still here? In the dark and silent void, suddenly beams of streamers appeared. After a while, those streamers slowly stopped outside Gulong Island, the light dissipated, and a powerful figure appeared. Most of these people were wearing dark golden armor embroidered with dragon patterns. When the dragon patterns swam, like living things, a vast dragon power filled them. In addition, there are a group of naked figures. They are exceptionally strong, giving people a very powerful sense of visual impact. It's from Shilong Island and Nanlong Island. There was a burst of angry cheers on the island. Xiao, how dare you lead someone to trespass on my Donglong Island? You are very courageous. The sky and space were slowly distorted, and figures appeared one by one. The leading old man was the elder Chio who was talking to Zhanli that day. Old man Chio, don't get angry. I'm just here by order. I want to invite adults with royal blood to Shilong Island. A big man with thick eyebrows dressed in dark golden armor outside the void laughed. Hearing this, Chio shouted coldly, I'm afraid it's the Shilong king who wants to put the royal blood under house arrest on Shilong Island. He is just a side branch of the royal family, but he dares to call himself the Dragon King. I'm really not afraid to compromise myself. After hearing this, Xiao said lightly, Gulong Island is divided into 4. I, King Shilong, have royal blood and have a stronger appeal, but you, Donglong Island, have no royal blood and should not exist. Chio responded, my Taishu Gulong clan, only Lord Dragon Emperor, should exist or not, you have no right to judge. Xiao heard the sound and curled his lips and said, I don't bother to talk nonsense with you, the Lord who handed over the blood of the royal family, otherwise I won't be able to do good today. It's up to you. Chio's expression was slightly cold, and with the palm of his hand, the terrible energy quickly condensed. Seeing that Chio was ready to do something, Xiao waved his hand, and the figures in the dark golden dragon armor behind him stepped out in one step, and the powerful coercion condensed together and spread towards Long Island. At the same time, Elder Zhili in the depths of Long Island looked gloomy, glanced at XiaoYan, and said solemnly, you protect XiaoYan well, and you must not let him have an accident. The sound of candlelight fell, and a low shout immediately came from the surrounding mountain peaks, yes. Upon seeing this, Zhanli nodded slowly, and her figure disappeared strangely as soon as she moved. When she reappeared, she was already in front of Chio. He raised his head, his eyes swept flatly across the many floating figures outside the void, and said softly, the Dragon Armor Army of Shilong Island, the Barbarian Dragon Army of Nanlong Island, the two elites are out together. I don't know who leads the Barbarian Dragon Army. It deserves to be Elder Zhanli, the old man hid aside, but you discovered it. As soon as the voice fell, the dark void space slowly distorted, and an old man in a simple leather jacket appeared out of thin air. Candle glanced at the old man and said lightly, "It turned out to be Elder Man Yen." Man Yen looked at Zhonli and said solemnly, "Elder Zhonli, hand over the people. The ancient dragon clan is already like this. It is even more difficult to unify. The three dragon kings will not allow it." At this moment, a figure suddenly swept into the sky and shouted, "Make a fart, really treat me as a bully on Donglong Island. If it weren't for the retreat of the eldest elder and the second elder, how dare you be arrogant?" XiaoYan responded, "Hey Qing, you still have this bad temper." Then he turned his gaze to Man Yen and shouted in a low voice, "We have no time to waste, let's do it." As the words fell, the dark golden dragon armor on XiaoYan's body burst out with brilliant golden light, and a monstrous aura swept out of his body like a storm. XiaoYan waved his hand abruptly and shouted angrily, "Dragon Armor Army, do it and bring back the adults of the royal bloodline." The soldiers of the Dragon Armor Army behind him worked together to make the fierce aura spew out, turned into a stream of light, and rushed towards Donglong Island. "Do it!" Listening to his order, the naked figures nodded heavily, their fists clenched, their arms squirmed quickly, and in a short while, their arms turned into dragon claws covered with lavender scales, then they flashed and rushed to Donglong Island. Upon seeing this, Elder Candlelight shouted, "Stop them!" The cheers fell, and vague figures rushed out of Donglong Island. For a while, the vast and powerful aura immediately filled the entire sky, the dull sound of physical collision, and the loud bang of monstrous explosions mingled with each other, resounding endlessly between the heavens and the earth. After He Qing punched a barbarian dragon army, when he was about to rush forward again, Candle Li's figure suddenly appeared and said in a deep voice, "He Qing, you go to protect XiaoYan, and leave it to us here." Hearing that he was about to leave the battlefield, He Qing was a little reluctant, but he also understood the importance of XiaoYan. At the moment, he could only grit his teeth, his figure retreated violently, and in a few flashes, he rushed into the depths of Donglong Island. At this moment, a soft laugh came slowly, "Candlelight, let the old man be your opponent." Ling Zhanli's gaze was fixed on the void in front of him, and the figure of Man Yen slowly appeared. Purple dragon scales began to spread all over his body, and his arms gradually turned into sharp dragon claws. In the blink of an eye, Man Yen had become a half-dragon, with a dragon body, dragon claws, and dragon arms. The moment Man Yen completed his transformation, an extremely fierce aura filled out of his body, distorting the surrounding space that he smiled at Zhonli and said, "I haven't seen you for many years. I don't know if you have broken through Dozuan now." The soles of Menyan's feet stepped out lightly, and the space suddenly rippled. His figure instantly appeared in front of Candlelight like a ghost, and the terrifying energy suddenly filled with the wave of the dragon's claws. When Man Yen and Candlelight were fighting together, the entire Gulong Island also broke out with an earth-shattering explosion. At this moment a battle circle appeared in the sky of Dragon Island everywhere, and the original peaceful and quiet atmosphere had long since disappeared. Only the depths of Dragon Island still maintained a trace of peace. The crater is still filled with terrifying temperature. In the giant tripod, Xian's body, which was originally filled with hardness, is gradually returning to softness, and she can faintly feel that a kind of ocean-like endless terrifying energy is flowing in her body. He Qing looked at the giant tripod solemnly, and suddenly a burst of wind sounded, causing his expression to change slightly. When he turned his head, he saw more than a dozen fierce and abnormal figures, coming like lightning. Looking at the guys who broke in, He Qing shouted coldly, "Stop them, don't disturb XiaoYan." As soon as the sound of his cheers fell, figures quickly swept out of the surrounding mountains, intercepting those guys. Although the visitor was stopped, He Qing's expression was still gloomy. He understood that since the two southwest islands had received the news, Bailong Island would definitely not sit idly by. Nowadays, the power in the island is already quite difficult to resist the attacks of these two islands. If Bailong Island is also plugged in, it will be really dangerous. He Qing clenched his fists and murmured, "XiaoYan, hurry up." Regarding this chaotic situation in the outside world, XiaoYan, who was sitting cross-legged in front of the giant tripod, seemed to have not heard of it. His bloodshot eyes stared at the giant tripod, his palms stiff and imprinted, firmly controlling the temperature in the tripod. After more than a month of sleepless nights, and such a terrifying workload was required, this was enough to make any Dozuan strong man tired and collapsed, but XiaoYan persisted. Flying, looked at the disheveled XiaoYan and said to himself, "This guy is really cruel to himself. After this matter is resolved, my old black will worship with you, and I will hit whoever you point to." He, who was rebellious, now had to be impressed by XiaoYan's toughness. However, at this moment, there was a loud noise in the distance, and immediately a fierce aura swept over. Immediately afterwards, a rampant laughter sounded like thunder. It turned out to be here. The next moment, the figure appeared around the crater in a few flashes, and then slowly lowered its figure. When everyone looked at it, it turned out that this was a man dressed in dark gold armor. His eyebrows were golden, and his face was filled with a touch of ferocity. Seeing the visitor, Qing said softly, "The fourth commander of the Dragon Armor Army, XiaoYan." As the words fell, with a wave of his palm, more than a dozen figures flashed out of the surrounding mountains and forests, watching the man known as XiaoYan vigilantly. "Qing, I didn't expect to meet you here." XiaoYan narrowed his eyes slightly, without too much nonsense, and waved his palm lightly, and many murderous figures swept out behind him, with a low long-way roar resounding. Upon seeing this, Qing's expression slowly sank, and after nodding slightly, more than a dozen strong men from Donglong Island also quickly swept out, intercepting all those wearing dark golden dragon armor. XiaoYan laughed and said, "Qing, obediently hand over that adult, otherwise Donglong Island will flow into a river of blood. If you want to grab someone, it depends on whether you have such qualifications." Qing let out a deep sigh, shook his palm abruptly, and blasted out with a direct punch. A dark crack suddenly burst out of the space, and it quickly extended towards XiaoYan. That XiaoYan snorted coldly, and also blasted out a fierce punch, colliding with the dark cracks that spread. In an instant, the powerful ripples of energy suddenly spread. XiaoYan's body trembled slightly, then quickly stabilized, and then the soles of his feet stepped into the void. His figure appeared like a ghost beside Qing, and the fierce offensive was overwhelming. Out! Facing such an onslaught, Qing sneered lightly at the corner of his mouth, and instead of retreating, he directly confronted him head-on. In the sky, two figures scuffled together, and every time they attacked, they would make a low sonic boom in the surrounding air. This only peaceful place also became turbulent with the start of the fight between the two of them. Regarding these, XiaoYan, who was sitting in front of the giant tripod, still didn't move at all. At this moment, another soft laugh came from the void space. "Candlelight, stop making unnecessary resistance, and hand over the people." As soon as the laughter fell, Candle Li's expression instantly became ugly. He stared at the void and said in a deep voice, "Bailong Island, finally appeared." I saw a touch of green light suddenly lit up in the void space, and then the green light quickly zoomed in, and a series of figures appeared over Long Island wrapped in a monstrous breath. Just in the sky, an old man in a cyan robe glanced at the chaotic Gulong Island and said with a chuckle, "It seems that it's still late, but fortunately, I didn't miss it." Upon seeing this, Zhongli's expression was completely gloomy. The handwriting of these three dragon kings is really not small, and they actually sent a half-saint and two fighting gods to the peak. It seems that for Xian, they must win. Qing Wei glanced at the gloomy candlelight, then looked into the depths of Dragon Island, and said softly, "Elder Man Yan, Candlelight will be stopped by you, and the adult who has the blood of the royal family will be taken away by the old man himself." As the words fell, his figure moved, turned into a stream of light, and swept towards the depths of Dragon Island. Upon seeing this, Candlelight was furious. However, before he could go to stop him, Man Yan instantly stood in front of him, waving his dragon claws, directly penetrating the void, and storming towards Candlestick Glass. Candlelight, who was blocked by Man Yan, was furious, and the vindictive energy in her body gushed out, and she fought with the former again. At the same time, the old man named Qing Wei also appeared around the crater. In just a few breaths that he glanced at XiaoYan, who was sitting cross-legged in front of the giant tripod. His eyes immediately stopped in the giant tripod, his brows frowned, and he murmured, "This is an adult with royal blood." He is still in his infancy, but the coercion of the bloodline has begun to show signs. You have to take people away first to avoid changes. Thoughts flashed, and Qin Wei stopped procrastinating. As soon as he made a move, a figure appeared in front of him. Not far away was the venerable iron sword. At this moment, His Holiness the Iron Sword was expressionless, holding a big sword in his hand, staring at Qin Wei. A smell of indifference permeated. Blocked by His Holiness the Iron Sword, Qin angrily shouted, looking for death. With his strength at the peak of fighting respect, he naturally won't put the iron sword in his eyes. At the moment, with a wave of his sleeve robe, an energy storm suddenly appeared, and then swept away like lightning. In this regard, His Holiness the Iron Sword seemed to have never seen it. He raised the iron sword above his head, and then cut it off with a sword under the skin that was generally flat. The face of His Holiness the Iron Sword paled instantly, as if all the vindictiveness in his body had passed away with the sword. At the same time, a sword gang the size of a slap burst out with a snort and collided heavily with the storm. The two collided, and a terrible ripple of energy suddenly burst out. The venerable iron sword, who was already looking sluggish, spurted out blood directly under this anti-shock force, and his body fell into the forest below as if he had been hit hard. Into the forest below. Defeating the iron sword casually, a sneer appeared at the corner of Qin Wei's mouth. I'm really looking for death, and I dare to show up with this kind of strength. He stepped on the void and walked towards XiaoYan step by step, his indifferent voice resounding through the sky, "Boy, stop your flame." The disheveled XiaoYan seemed to have not heard of it. His bloodshot eyes stared at the giant tripod. Qin Wei sneered, "Another one is looking for death." The footsteps slowly stopped beside XiaoYan, his palms raised, his vindictive energy surged, and he mercilessly photographed XiaoYan Tianlingai. At the moment Qin Wei's palm blasted out, the girl in the giant tripod, her closed eyes suddenly opened, and a cold sound containing infinite coercion exploded in the depths of Qin Wei's soul like thunder, causing her movements to suddenly solidify. If he hurts a hair, you will pay for it with your life today. The cold sound of drinking rang through Qin Wei's ears, although it was not very loud and clear, but it made his soul tremble violently. In that shout, there was a blood pressure that he couldn't resist. Qin Wei's face was pale, Deshang's royal bloodline. He suddenly paused with the palm of his hand patted on XiaoYan Tianlingai, then pointed his toes a little, let out a snort in the void, and suddenly retreated violently. At the same time, a purple gold iron chain burst out of the giant tripod, pierced through the void, and exploded on Qin Wei's body in the blink of an eye. The terrible strong wind burst open, Qin Wei spouted a large mouthful of blood, and his body flew out in embarrassment. When the green dragon was shaken to the sky, Xia Sha, who was fighting He Qing around the crater, and many other strong men all changed their expressions, hurriedly raised their heads, and turned their eyes to the flame-filled giant tripod. I saw a shadow looming there, and they clearly felt that the blood in their bodies was faintly boiling, and a strong coercion lay in their hearts, giving them an urge to kneel down. Impulse. He Qing said with excitement in his tone, "The true royal bloodline has completely awakened." Under the gaze of countless people, the raging flames in the giant tripod slowly extinguished, and then a slender shadow slowly appeared in everyone's eyes. The woman who appeared was dressed in a purple gold skirt and robe, and the dragon emperor danced on it, like a living thing, revealing an indescribable dignity. The long purple hair swept down like a waterfall, spreading over Yingying's small waist. The woman's appearance is extremely beautiful, and a pair of purple gold eyes look so mysterious and flirtatious. Under the gaze of these Zijin eyes, it seemed that even the sky and the earth were about to succumb to it. Today's Xian is no longer what she was when she was a little girl, but has completely become a beautiful woman who loves the country and the city. One by one, he first lost his mind for Xian's noble aura, and then his gaze condensed behind him. The long purple and gold wings were gently stirring, and the faint sound of wind and thunder slowly came out, shocking people. Looking at the purple gold wings behind Xian, He Qing said excitedly, "The wings of the phoenix, the body of the ancient dragon." After a while, he finally knelt down in the sky and said respectfully, "Welcome to the Dragon Emperor." Following He Qing, the strong men of Donglong Island also knelt down quickly, and their uniform cheers resounded across the sky. Xia Sha and Qin Wei and other strong men of Sanlong Island, when they saw this scene, their expressions changed slightly. They are not from Donglong Island. Because of their long-term obedience to the three Dragon Kings, although they feel the pressure from their bloodline at this moment, they did not go to see and worship like He Qing and others. At this moment, He Qing turned his head abruptly and shouted angrily at Qing Wei and the others, "Qing Wei, you are so courageous, you didn't kneel when you saw the Dragon Emperor." After listening to He Qing's anger, XiaoYan and Qing Weigan screamed. Under the gaze of Xian's purple-gold eyes in the distance, the blood in their bodies seemed to be suppressed. This kind of coercion far exceeds the three Dragon Kings. The two of XiaoYan glanced at each other, and said stiffly, "I have seen Lord Longhuang, but we are under the command of Lord Longhuang. If we have time in the future, we will come to see Lord Longhuang again." As soon as the voice fell, they did not dare to stay any longer, and their stature quickly retreated. "Asshole!" Seeing these people turn around and ran away, He Qing was furious, and just about to chase after her. Xian waved her hand, and the purple-golden wings behind her appeared in front of XiaoYan like a ghost. Looking at the latter's bloodshot eyes and almost stiff palms, Xian's purple-gold eyes finally fluctuated a little. "Rest first, thank you for your hard work." The jade hand gently tapped XiaoYan's forehead, and a rich purple-gold light followed Xian's fingertips and quickly invaded XiaoYan's body. In a blink of an eye, XiaoYan's body was wrapped in a purple-gold light, and his bloodshot eyes gradually closed. Upon seeing this, He Qing hurriedly rushed forward and handed over his hand. "Master Dragon Emperor, thanks to XiaoYan's sleepless sleep, the dragon and phoenix crystal layer in your body was dissolved." Xian nodded slightly. "I know." Behind her, her personality seems to be very different, faintly cold, revealing a noble aura comparable to heaven and earth. Under this breath, even He Qing didn't dare to treat her as a naughty little girl anymore, but recognized her as another Dragon Emperor of the Taishu Gulong clan. Xian said softly, "Let him take a good rest, and leave the matter of Dragon Island to me." Hearing this, He Qing quickly bowed in response, stepped forward to help XiaoYan, and quickly retreated with him. As He Qing and the others left, the wings behind Xian shook slightly, and the delicate body appeared in the sky like an instant. She looked down at all the battle circles condescendingly, and the rich purple-gold light continued to diffuse from her body like waves of water, and immediately turned into rain and dew, pouring into every corner of Gulong Island. This is such a strong blood pressure, even the three Dragon Kings have never possessed it. Is it the Dragon Emperor? Under the purple and gold light, all the battle circles on Gulong Island stopped abruptly. Everyone was bathed in it. In addition to being shocked, they felt the quiet color of the blood in their bodies. Man Yen was shocked and looked at the sky. The dragon claws and dragon arms on his body degenerated rapidly, and in just a few breaths, he returned to the appearance of an ordinary old man, and even his breath languished a lot. Candle Li stared at the sky in a daze. The shadow, excitement surged to her heart, her legs bent, kneeling in the sky, old tears crisscrossed. Taishu Gulong clan, finally there is a Dragon Emperor appeared. In an instant, in the sky, on the ground, and on the mountain peaks, all figures knelt down respectfully at this moment. Even now the weaker people of the other Mishima Islands, after persisting for a while, finally couldn't resist the pressure from their blood and souls, so they bent their legs and knelt on the ground. The Gulong clan does not kneel to the sky or to the ground. In their hearts, the true god is only the Dragon Emperor with a complete royal bloodline. Man Yen sighed softly. As soon as the Dragon Emperor comes out, the three Dragon Kings are really going to panic. As strong as him, although he didn't kneel down at this moment, he still bent down at a distance to the shadow in the sky. Today's incident has been a complete failure. Donglong Island, where the Dragon Emperor is sitting, and the other three islands cannot compete with it today. Man Yen glanced at XiaoYan solemnly. It was impossible for ordinary people of the ancient dragon clan not to dare to take action against the Dragon Emperor, because this was not only a gap in identity, but also rebellious. Just as the two sighed, far away in the sky, the voice of irresistible coercion sounded slowly. The people of the three islands, leave Donglong Island within 10 breaths. Hearing this, Man Yen and XiaoYan gave a wry smile. The former looked at Julie and said softly, Donglong Island may be right, but the three Dragon Kings are not ambitious, and they will not let the Dragon Emperor easily unify the ancient dragon clan. After speaking, Man Yen didn't dare to stay too much. With a wave of his hand, he hurriedly flew towards the void space outside Donglong Island with many figures. The people of the other two islands were also scrambling to keep up, not daring to procrastinate at all. Just as the strong of the three islands swept into the void, Xian spoke faintly again. When I go back, tell the three dragon kings that my Taishu ancient dragon clan has only the dragon emperor, and there is no dragon king. The emperor will personally take back a trace of their royal blood. These words fell into the ears of Man Yen and others, causing their bodies to tremble for a while.